Hi, welcome to Linda's TV show. If it is your first time and you like this video and the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that anytime I upload video, you'll be the first person to check it out. I want to appreciate all of you, my viewers, my subscribers, my amazing people for always tuning in to watch me. And for those saying that my videos are old, it might be old to you, but other people might not watch it. That is the essence of bringing it here. I open up a new YouTube channel where I talk about life in Germany. If you want to come to Germany to study, to work, or know information about Germany, click on that link down below. It will give you all the details that you need.
Please encourage you to welcome other people as well. If you're watching or listening via Facebook, on my wall, not minding all the suppressive activities of Facebook, I would encourage you to please try and share that as much as possible. I know most of you have now found a very safe home in IPOB community radio. Most of you are listening via that very platform. Some are listening via our satellite, even all the way to Europe. And I know that a greater majority of our people are listening via FM 102.1, depending on where you are, in Biafra land, in Lagos, in Abuja, and also in Kanu as well. We are broadcasting this very message that our people may become sufficiently enlightened to advise themselves that continued existence of the damnable zoological republic will mean their premature termination, not just of themselves, but their communities, their villages, and also their ethnic group as well, if care is not taken. Therefore, we are here to preach this very gospel of hope, of redemption, a gospel of truth, an unblemished propagation of the gospel of the restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon the face of this very earth. Without further hesitation, we are going to pray. And after we must have finished praying, then we will go on to bring to you what we have in store for you this very day. Because we know that the whole world is waiting very patiently to hear this very gospel this evening. We are going to pray. I am going to pray a prayer of David. My favorite part of the Torah is the Psalms. I love them and I love praying with them. I am going to pray a prayer that I pray every blessed day of my life. It is Psalm 70. And I will pray it in the language of heaven. Some are reminding me that I have not introduced myself. I don't think that I need any further introduction, but for those who are joining us for the very first time, you're listening to the voice of MAZI Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra all over this very planet, the largest mass movement on the face of this very earth, bar none. I lead IPOB very graciously, of course. I also direct Radio Biafra and Biafra Television, but above all, and by the very special grace of the Most High whom we serve, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. Now we must pray. And I will pray in the language of heaven. Please, if you have a direct line to the Almighty in heaven, they will tell you that they are worshiping Him in this very language I'm about to pray in right now. The very oldest language on the face of this very earth, the language of the ancient people. Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile, onye anyị na-efe wee na-akpụ isi ala nye. Chineke nna nke usu niile nke ndị agha, onye ndị Igbo na-etu ebighị ebi. Onye ọbụla nne ya kere ihe niile kere eke mana onweghị ihe ọbụla bụ ihe kere ya. Ya onwe ya bụ onye nọ mgbe ji wee malite. Ọ bụ naanị bụ isi mbido, naanị bụ ọgwụgwụ nke ndụ mmadụ dị ndụ. Chineke nna nke ụmụ Israel, Chineke nna nke kere eri, Chineke nna nke ndị Biafra, Chineke nna onye na-adịghị agharịpụ ndị ya, onye okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-arịọghị eze ndị nsọ, gị onwe gị bụ onye mmụọ na mmadụ na-akpụ isi ala nye. ka iwe mmụọ nsọ ezi Chineke na bi n'igwe ka ị bịa zọpụta ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra na ndị niile bụ ndị nọ na mkpagbu n'obodo ekwensu bụ zoo Nigeria nke mmadụ dị ndụ mere, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị na-eke obodo, ọ bụghị mmadụ dị ndụ. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị ka iwe gbatara anyị ọsọ enyemaka na ndị iro abatawa anyị n'ime ha, gbawa anyị okirikiri, wee jide ụmụ gị wee na-ala ha n'iyi, wee jide ọbara ndị nsọ wee were ya wee na-akwafu nna nke ebere, n'ihi na o nweghị mgbe ọbụla ọ bụ uche obi gị iwere anyị wee nyefee n'aka ndị iro ndị a na-ebighị ugwu, ụmụ ekwensu, ụmụ ọchịchịrị, kama ọ bụ site na nnupụ isi anyị na mmehie anyị iwe na-ata anyị ahụhụ wee ruo n'ụbọchị nke taa, kama anyị wee na-agwa gị ezi ebube dị ngọzi n'ụwa niile na-ege anyị ntị, na anyị na-ewere ihe niile nke anyị ụwa anyị bụ wee nyefee gị na ọ gbadara aka gị nna nke ebere, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị nna nke igwe ka ihe niile ekere eke na-erubere isi. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị ezi ebube dị ngọzi ka iwe etinye ndị dị etu a n'ụzọ ihe nakwa ọgba aghara, bụ ka ha rabụ ndị na-achụgharị anyị mgbe niile, ka ha wee memile anyị, ka iwe chụghachi ndị dị etu azụ bụ Fulani Janjaweed na ndị otu ha niile, ma tinye ọgba aghara n'etiti ndị dị etu a bụ ndị chọrọ mmemila IPOB. Bịakwa ka iwe chụghachi ndị iro anyị azụ, ka ụgwọ ọlụ ndị dị etu a wee bụrụ ihere nke onwe ha, ka ha rapụ ndị na-achị anya ọchị mgbe niile, na-asịlekwa ka ọnọdụ ha dị, kama ka anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị na-achịrụghị bụ ụmụ Chineke, bụ ndị nwe obi aṅụrị na obi ụtọ n'ime gị. Anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị nwe ezi ịhụnanya ebe nzọpụta gị nọ. Ọ bụ ya mere mgbe niile ka anyị na-ekwu ukwe wee na-abụ abụ wee na-eweli olu anyị elu na-asị onye nwe anyị bi n'igwe, ka anyị jaa gị mma Chineke nna bi n'igwe, ka anyị jaa gị mma ọkaka, ka anyị jaa gị mma nwanne otu onye, n'ihi na anyị bụ ụmụ ogbenye, onweghị ihe ọbụla nke anyị nwe. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị ka iwe gbatara anyị ọsọ enyemaka ọsịsọ, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ Chineke na nke pụrụ m ihe niile. Ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye enyemaka, ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye nzọpụta, ọ bụ naanị gị bụ Elohim Adonai El Shaddai. Biko atụfukwala mgbe, bịa ọsọ ọsọ ezi ebube dị ngọzi, ka Biafra wee bịa, ka anyị wee jaa gị mma wee too gị. Ọbụla dị ka ndị mmụọ ozi si wee na-agba oche oze gị okirikiri na nke bred ngọzi wee na-asị na ede nsọ, ka anyị onwe anyị bụ anụkpa ahụ n'elu ụwa wee si etu a wee jaa gị mma ezi ebube dị ngọzi, ka otuto niile na nsọpụrụ niile, ịja mma niile bụrụ nke naanị gị onye nwe m, ugbu a ma ruo mgbe niile ebighị ebi, ka anyị na-arịọ gị. Ise, the language of heaven. If you pray in this very language, anything you ask for will be given to you. If your heart is clear and your mind is pure, that I can assure you. There is nothing that I pray for that I do not get. Absolutely nothing. Anything I ask for, I get it. I pray in this very language of heaven, the language of the ancients. If you want to know how to ask God for something and is granted, go and study the secrets of David. David is about the only person that knew how to speak to Elohim, and all his wishes was granted. Thank you very much. I welcome each and every one of you. All of you, wherever you are this very evening, you must get your pen and paper ready, because we are about to educate even the uneducatable. We are going to educate them this very day. We are going to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth. A justification of everything we have been preaching from day one. I am starting today's program with that very letter that I now believe has gone viral. You know, sometimes I wonder only if we can reason properly, only if black people can reason properly and discern, only if we can read between the lines, can we then appreciate the magnitude, or should I say, the importance of this very correspondence from the very Baroness Cox, a woman that I met. I think that was last year. I went to the House of Lords and we met her, myself, and my immediate younger brother, as a matter of fact, accompanied me on that very trip, and also Solomon Ebo as well, who is our Manchester coordinator. We went to go and see Baroness Cox, and she spoke very well, very eloquently, very grand. And I knew immediately that she was a woman of immense courage and integrity. And today, I believe with the writing of this very letter to Patricia Scotland, QC, who's the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, that she has justified my faith in her. She has justified my faith in her. And I wish that a lot of people can come up. Not too long ago, just a few days ago, so to speak, the U.S. ambassador made history as being the first person, not just the first woman, but the very first person to guarantee what may resemble free and fair elections in the damnable zoological republic. And now that has been followed by Baroness Cox. I don't know the influence that women are having. I wouldn't say they're inordinate, but I do welcome all of them. And we are going to analyze this very correspondence this evening to lay a very clear and unmistakable foundation as to the direction the zoo is headed and what we all need to do individually and collectively to ensure the survival of our respective ethnic groups and our respective nations that lured unceremoniously bound together in the British colonial experiment that they also christened Nigeria. Baroness Cox of the House of Lords of England, of course, of United Kingdom, wrote to Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, QC, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, who resides, or whose office at Marlborough House in London is W1 Y5HX, a place I know very well, having lived there for very many years. And Baroness Cox started by saying, or by addressing her letter to Patricia. She said, "Dear Patricia, we write," we meaning herself and a few other parliamentarians in the UK, "we write to highlight urgent concerns about escalating violence in Nigeria, where attacks led by Boko Haram, Fulani herders, and other Islamist militia continue in northern and central belts, with reports of increasing violence in the southeast. For the very first time, they acknowledge that there is violence being visited upon our people by the Janjaweed military, the army, and the police." You must listen very carefully in this letter, and also for the very first time coming from people that we consider to be part of the British establishment. A recognition that despite the coloration by some sections of the Zoo media in terms of the description of those carrying out all these heinous attacks as Fulani herders, for the very first time they acknowledge that Fulani people are the ones killing, pillaging, maiming, and sacking towns and villages. At the risk of sounding like an ethnic bigot, which is what they often accuse me of, but the truth of the matter is that each and every of the now 7 terrorist groups in the zoo are all funded and staffed by Fulani people. And as I said, for the very first time, I know that the Foreign and Commonwealth Office will disagree with this. I know that those of them who work in their foreign missions, who get, should I say, quite a sizable chunk of bribe money from the Fulani Caliphate, will disagree with this. Anybody who is against it is in the payroll of the Janjaweed. You must understand this. For the very first time, they acknowledge that attacks from Boko Haram, of course, but from Fulani herders. They called a spade, which is why I have regard for this very letter. If not, I wouldn't have read it out. And all that Islamist militia, which is also a recognition that Muslims are killing Christians in the zoological republic called Nigeria. For the very simple reason that the government, the army, the police, the customs, the navy, every paramilitary organization, every organization that bears arms in the zoological republic have all been Islamized. They're all staffed and led by Muslims from the Sahel. And they will kill for their religion. Under the cloak or cover of one Nigeria, they are now executing their master plan of conquest and forced Islamization. And I congratulate these parliamentarians in the UK for recognizing that. The reason why this letter is very important is because never, I cannot recall in the history of the Zoological Republic where parliamentarians from the UK have risen with one accord and one voice to condemn what is happening in the zoo or what their puppets, their lapdogs, the Fulanis are doing. It's never happened before. This is the very first time it's ever happened. You must listen very attentively. For the very first time also, they acknowledged Biafra. Of course, they cannot mention Biafra. They said Southeast. They know there is violence there. So all the tweeting we've been doing, all the campaigning, everything that everyone has been doing, not just us. There are a lot of people who are working very, very hard to convey this very message. And also, especially those of them from the Middle Belt, the very team led by T.Y. Danjuma, of course, that went to see them a while back. And they listened to him because he is one of them, and they believe him. And that is the main thrust of this very letter. Not trust, but thrust. T-H-R-U-S-T. Please, I must be quoted correctly. Now, I continue with this very letter. According to a report by the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group, APPG, for International Freedom of Religion or Belief, entitled Nigeria Unfolding Genocide. Do you know the funniest thing about it? This was the same genocide that was visited upon Biafra, because if you recall many years ago when I used to pray on this very platform, I said, "Dear God in heaven, allow all those who connived and conspired with our enemies to bring evil upon your children to experience the same thing we had gone through." Anybody who is an avid listener or follower of this very platform, Radio Biafra, will understand that in times gone by, that used to be my prayer. I don't pray that prayer today because the suffering is enormous, it is too much. But now there is an acknowledgement by the powers that be in the UK, those that created the Zoological Republic, that there is unfolding genocide. Unfolding genocide. An acknowledgement from a quarter that hitherto will do everything within their powers to deny Fulani atrocity. And make no mistakes about it, all the atrocities happening in the Zoological Republic is as a result of Fulani Janjaweedism. They want to terrorize you, they want to suppress you, they want to intimidate you, they want to colonize you, they want to take over your land, and they want to annihilate you. That is the way they operate, that is who they are. And that is how they will continue to be until somebody puts a stop to them, which is exactly what we are doing. Now listen to this very report. And I want it published on my page, please, so that people can follow accordingly. I don't know what other platforms there are that this very publication, I'm sure that most of you have seen it. But the only reason why I'm having to do this analysis is because I don't think that they did justice to it. They do very well, most of them, but I don't think that they quite handled this properly. Thousands of civilians have been killed, and elements of the Nigerian government may be complicit in violence. What it means is that for the very first time also from Britain, there is an acknowledgement that Aso Rock itself, the Fulani people in Aso Rock, they call them the presidency, the cabal, they are part of the violence. This is something that people would now need to acknowledge and, should I say, formulate a plan that neutralizes this very governmental complicity in the spread of terrorism in a place that they call a country or a nation. Now, these MPs and House of Lords members can see very clearly. Some of us don't understand the English language very well. And most of these letters are couched in what is called diplomatic speak. So you may not understand it unless you delve into it and begin to strip off all the layers of niceties. But in this very letter, they have dispensed with all of that. They have gone straight to the point. They are saying that this APC government, this government that you call Buhari, the dead man who is in Saudi Arabia, this government of Fulani Cabal, this government of Abba Kyari, this government of Issa Funtua, this government of, what is his name again, Mama Ndaura, this government of the Sultan of Sokoto, of the Fulani Irredentes, that they are complicit in the killing of their own people, assuming you regard the zoo Nigeria as one country. These are people, you must understand that these are people who wouldn't normally be critical of a Fulani regime because they benefit from it. For them to come out so explicitly and boldly to condemn what is quite rightly unfolding genocide in the zoo tells you the extent of the damage that the Fulani Janjaweed has done to people in that damnable Zoological Republic. This very group, as their letter goes on to say, the APPG's concerns reflect the findings of a report by Amnesty International. The report is titled, "We Dried Our Tears, Addressing the Toll on Children of Northeast Nigeria's Conflict," which concludes, listen very carefully, which concludes that the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Nigerian Army led by Buratai, have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity during their operations. They have never fought any foreign war. They have never conquered any piece of territory for the zoo. They have not done anything gallantry worthy of mention. They have not exhibited their heroics anywhere else in the world. Only, I am telling you, in the second paragraph, it says that the Nigerian government is complicit in the genocide going on in Nigeria. Third paragraph, the Nigerian Army itself asking for weapons from China, asking for weapons from Czech Republic. They have committed war crimes. In other words, anybody supplying arms to the Nigerian Army or Nigerian police are complicit in the genocide, or should I say the war crimes that these people are committing. Now you understand it. And you must now see the need and reason why we must resist. We must resist the zoo army. We must resist them. With the last drop of our blood, we must resist them. Because they are war criminals. That is what they do. Because they got away with crimes against humanity in the Northeast, they brought that also during their Python dance. And Britain was doing all they can to protect them. Britain knows the government, or should I say the administration of Cameron, the administration of Theresa May, and now also Boris Johnson, they are fully aware of the genocidal tendencies of Asorok. They are aware of it. They are all aware of it. But they have chosen to do nothing. Therefore, we thank these parliamentarians. They went on to say that the Nigeria's former Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma, whom some of us have met and spoken to, says the armed forces are not neutral. They collude. You must understand, T.Y. Danjuma was the man that killed Ironsi. T.Y. Danjuma is a hater of Biafrans. I must tell you this very clearly. Maybe not anymore because they've apologized and we accept it. But I'm telling you that this man served in the military. He was part of Arewa. They thought that they are from the north, that Arewa will welcome them, that they are part of Fulani. They never knew that Fulani had ulterior motive, that Fulani even had a plan to swallow them as well. You must listen very carefully this evening. This letter is very, very huge. Only if I know after analyzing this letter, Fulani will do what they do best. They will pump money into the UK. They will pump money into the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. They will give so much money to the British High Commissioner in Abuja. They will pump money. They will bribe every newspaper. That's what they do best. People don't understand. That is what they do. The people who are signatories to this letter are those they could not bribe. I live in the UK and I've been meeting these people since 1997. I know them very well. You must listen very carefully, please. Danjuma said that the army in Nigeria is not neutral. Danjuma said they collude. Who are they colluding with? With the terrorists. That is why the army will now go and say terrorists have repented, they can now join the army. They are colluding. Therefore, when you see a military Hilux van in Asa, or see a military Hilux van leaving 82 Division in Enugu, you don't know if they are terrorists, you don't know if they are genuine army. Nobody knows anymore. The lines are blurred. When you see a soldier now in the zoo in Nigeria, you don't know if that soldier is there to fight terrorism or if that soldier is there to commit terrorism. You have no idea. These are the things people don't know. That is why our people must resign from the army. That is why everybody in the Middle Belt must resign from the army. That is why everybody from the West, Yoruba land, Oduduwa, must resign from the army. Because the more you are in the army, the more you are giving them credibility or this veneer of one Nigerian army, the more terrorists infiltrate the army, and the more they are using the cloak or the cover of the army to land grab, to go to your villages and kill you. From T.Y. Danjuma, a supporter of one Nigeria, someone who has benefited so much that he has an oil well, he has his own oil well, he's a multi-billionaire, he's not doing anything with money. If anybody has any vested interest in the sustenance of the Zoological Republic, Danjuma should be one of them. But he is not happy anymore, because now that very lion they've been feeding, which is Fulani Janjaweedism, is now about to consume them. That was why he said the army of Buratai is not neutral, and they collude in the ethnic cleansing. Even in the riverine states, they would not say Biafra, they say riverine. Are you listening? By Fulani headers. He insists, that is Danjuma, that villagers must defend themselves. So even our dragon flag we have raised, Britain is aware, the whole world is aware that we must defend ourselves. If you don't defend yourselves, you will be swallowed alive. You will be killed. You will be emasculated. Your villages will be sacked. Your communities decimated. Your land taken over. And you, those of you who are lucky to survive, or should I say unfortunate to survive, you will become Islamized. It's here. You must defend yourselves, because depending on the armed forces will result in them dying. If you depend on Nigerian army to defend you, they are the terrorists themselves. You will die one by one. The ethnic cleansing must stop, according to this very letter to Commonwealth. I'm not sure they'll do anything. After all, Patricia Scotland, all the zoo will give her, if they used to give her £1 million before, they'll give her £5 million now. I know them, that's what they do. I know the man responsible for distributing the money. He's also a member of the House of Lords. When the time comes, I will give you complete revelation as to who these people are. I will name the consultancy firms they're using in London to bribe the lawmakers. So Fulani can slaughter all of you. They will not. You will not hear Boris Johnson condemn it. You will not hear the Foreign Office come out and say what is happening in Nigeria is wrong. They will never say it, because money is pumping in. There is free oil, free gas. As long as free oil, free gas is coming, courtesy of Fulani presidency, they have no worries. All of you can die. Now listen. Continuation of this very letter. The state's failure to protect its citizens is a clear breach of its obligations under the Commonwealth Charter in respect of human rights. Now there is a wide acknowledgement that Nigerian army is not going to defend you. Instead, they will kill you, they will rape you, they will help the Fulani terrorists to take over your land. Are you listening? This is from white people that don't like Biafra. This is from white people that hate the notion of an Igbo man ever coming up in life. They don't like it. They don't want to hear it. Their hatred for Biafra is total. So anything that's prompted them to say or write this is enormous. For parliamentarians in England to come up to write this, oh my goodness. That means that some of you don't even know what is going on the ground. These are people that they created Nigeria, they built it, they packaged it. They wanted it to have, should I say, undue influence in the affairs of Africa, so that Britain can control Africa through Nigeria. It's a very simple. They wrote it down. That was what, in the official documents that I have seen, Britain said, we want to build a huge country in Africa that can wield influence, and through them we can control the whole of Africa. Now you can imagine. We continue. They have failed. Now they concluded by saying there is now an urgent need to ensure adequate protection and aid for those suffering the loss of family members and the destruction of their homes and livelihood, and to end impunity by ensuring that complaints related to human rights violations are promptly, independently, and impartially investigated, and those responsible are held to account after their trials. No one was held to account. When IPOB was shouting and telling you what was coming, they brought Operation Python Dance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then our Duduwa friends and brethren, they were busy laughing and clapping. Some in the Middle Belt were busy laughing and clapping, as they used to say where we come from. They said that naturally, somebody should translate in English, please. Somebody should translate. Somebody should translate for the world to understand. Today, when IPOB was fighting Fulani Janjaweed, we were protesting, we were rallying, we were marching, telling you that death is coming. Some people in Yoruba land said, no, leave them, he's a secessionist. Until Pa Fashoranti's daughter was slaughtered by Fulani people. Until Fulani now occupy some forests in Yoruba land. Now their eyes opened. The Middle Belt were rejoicing after they were against Biafra, they were against everything to do with Biafra and freedom, until Mietiala got into their villages and their communities, raped their children, abducted them, dismembered them, slaughtered them, took over their land, renamed it. Then their eyes opened. That thing we saw many years ago, you are only now discovering. And I say good morning to all of you, and I welcome you with open arms. Now, we can join forces and fight this monster together. And the only thing that is making them to survive, the only thing that is sustaining this Fulani hegemony, is the stupidity of some of the Efulefus buried in all these ethnic groups, all of them. Some more than the other. I can assure you. Some more than the other, I can assure you. But we're going to deal with all of them. In conclusion, they wrote, we write therefore to ask whether you are able to respond on behalf of the Commonwealth and to raise these urgent concerns with the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group. We will be very willing to meet in person or perhaps more practically online via Zoom to discuss how we might proceed. This, as I told you about Britain and white people, if you remember, a long time ago as well. I said, no matter how bad they are, I told you about England. No matter how bad they are, they have conscience. One day they will rise up and say that what is happening is bad, and they have done it. That's one thing about them. I told you that's one thing I admire about them. No matter how bad they are, one day they will rise up and say enough is enough. That was how they ended slavery. People went to court and argued in England that slavery was inhuman and inhumane. And they ended it. It's a country that, respects logic and reason. And now they have come to the conclusion that this cannot continue. They need a country or a nation exists to protect the people. When that state can no longer protect the people, that state loses or ceases to hold legitimacy to be called a nation or a government. Do you understand it? If you cannot protect lives and properties, that state should not exist. That is why you have failed states. States that can no longer guarantee the safety or well-being of its citizens and their properties. That's all. Is it happening in the zoo? Is it because you hear the little ones that you hear because of social media? If not, you will hear nothing. The killings will continue, nobody will talk. Britain is getting oil and gas, so why bother? If America wants to decide, please, don't even go there. It's our territory, it's our area, we'll colonize that week. Britain says, what are you going to teach us about Nigeria? I remember once, American diplomats were clamoring and saying that something needs to be done about Nigeria. I remember then, I saw the dispatch. Britain said to them, why are you bothered about Nigeria? We created Nigeria. They did not create Nigeria. Those black people did not. We created them. Do you know them more than us? And America kept quiet. And there's a very valid point. That Nigeria, you have a name today answering Nigerian is because Britain created you. You didn't create yourself. Let us be honest about this. All these people telling you about being patriotic, one Nigeria. I'm asking you, did you create yourself? Nigeria is about to be 60 years old. Is that correct? They said it's 60 years anniversary of Nigeria. Is that not correct? 60 years. So how about your father that is older than 60? Who is he? Or who was he? These are the things that, because we are black people, our reasoning, our mental faculties, our reasoning process doesn't extend beyond 1960. Ask yourself this question. Those of you clamoring for one Nigeria, saying Nigeria has to be one, despite all these impunities as chronicled by British parliamentarians, are you telling me that something that was created, or should I say came into formal existence in 1960 and has represented only misery? Nigeria has only meant misery, death, and ethnic cleansing, genocide. Can somebody name one good thing about the zoo, Nigeria? Nothing. Now, why are you sustaining it? That is the question any logical person will ask. When you're in a marriage that is not, that is no longer, should I say, serving your interest, you leave. Is that not correct? Everywhere in the world, the essence of having one Nigeria has been defeated. There is no need for it anymore. Let people go back to where they come from before the white man came. Because by allowing Nigeria to continue to exist, what you're doing to yourself is that you are denying your heritage, your culture, who you are, and your traditions. You are saying that you don't exist. You're handing over all you are, your essence, to the British. That's what it means. You're saying, you are my creator, Britain. Oh, Lord God, Britain, you are my creator. Anything you say we should do is what we are going to do, because they created you. Remember that when God made the heavens and the earth, God gave Adam the power to name things. And God said to Adam, all these things you own, so name them. According to the scriptures, Adam started naming everything. So whoever gives you a name, own you. That is why when you're a child, when you're born, they ask your mom and your dad, well, what is this baby's name? They won't go to ask any other person, and your dad will give you a name, or your mom will give you a name, or they will jointly give you a name, and that is the name you're going to bear until you become an adult. If you don't like that name, you now do a deed poll and you change it, because you are now an adult. Zoo at 60, still answering a name that nobody can actually stand up and defend. And you're telling me that you're matured? Of course you're not. Now, as always, it will take the intervention of white people to help us. It took white people to stop slavery. Blacks did not stop slavery. White people did. Britain promulgated a law banning slavery. In America, the same thing. Abraham Lincoln went to war to stop slavery. White people did something about it. All we do as black people is to lament, to complain. We never go the extra mile to put an end to what I call established injustice. It is now taking the intervention of white people in England, Baroness Cox, Lord Alton of Liverpool, Baroness Kennedy, Jim Shannon, Lord Williams, Lord Carey, Dr. Christopher Coxworth, Philip Mount Stevens, Lord Stoddart, Lord Anderson, Lord Cormac, Sir Geoffrey Nice, Ayo Adedoyin, Emilia Ochab, Mervyn Thomas. In fact, do you know what I find astonishing here? At least there is an Oduduwa person here. A Yoruba man's name is here. But we have Igbo, IGBO. I know that Honora, what's her name? Is it Kate Honora? She's answering from Newcastle. She's there, but she is not here. She has collected her own money from Nigeria. But at least Oduduwa is here. Ayo Adedoyin is here, who represents the International Organization for Peace and Social Justice. We have an Igbo woman in the House of Commons. Take this Kate Honora. I stand to be corrected. She cannot join. She has collected her own money and gone to sleep as her village is being ravaged by Fulani terrorists. That is our people for you. That is how we are. It is taking white people, to come to Africa to save Africans from themselves. The same way that U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, the U.S. ambassador in Abuja was the one white woman responsible for the first free and fair elections in living memory. One white woman, one single white woman. Now, whites are coming to save you. Tell me why they will not feel superior to you. Tell me why they will not feel that they own you. Because without their intervention, you cannot do anything. Whereas all it would have taken for us to change things in the zoo is Middle Belt, Ududua and Biafra rising up and saying enough is enough. Fulani will flee. Fulani will run away overnight. If we stand up tomorrow, before Sunday, Fulani will leave everybody alone. But they come to your village and they bribe you. They from Munich, Yoruba Muslim Association, they give them some small change. They come to our land, they get the likes of Ates, the likes of that idiot, they give them some money, start talking rubbish. One Nigeria is our turn, we can salvage it. In fact, right now, funny enough, they no longer have anybody in the Middle Belt to go to, which is quite shocking. The people now yapping still the same old mantra, the same old rubbish are those from the west and from the east. The likes of Duro Noble. I think I read something, one rubbish they wrote about, we are not for this secession. Seceding from what? I asked them. I will look at it. Seceding from what? When you hear fools talk about secession, seceding from what? From a country that is 60 years old? When my history tells me or teaches me that my land is over 5,000 years old, how can I secede? How can you be in a house? You are in a house. And you say, the son will say, Dad, I'm seceding from you. You and your dad, is your dad that will kick you out and say, you are over 18. Come on, go and look for somewhere to live. You come out and you say, Dad, I want to secede. Does that make any sense? 60-year-old nation, or should I say contraption? 60 years. How can I secede? I am older than Nigeria. How can I secede from it? My uncles are older than Nigeria. My mom was older than Nigeria before she passed on. My dad was older than Nigeria. How can I secede from something that I'm older than? I don't know where the brain of black people travels to. Only God can answer that. I'm immortal. I cannot. I want to know where the brain of black people, what informs their reasoning. Someone like Duro Noble writing garbage, writing rubbish, absolute rubbish. He claims an intellectual. Secession. They want secessionist group. Seceding because Fulani gives you money. Fulani doesn't want anybody to leave because they are lazy. They cannot do anything apart from moving cattle from place to place. They need the revenue from oil and gas. It's common sense. Only if you're a fool will you not understand it. White people are coming to save you. As always, it's always whites. End of slavery, white. It's always white people coming to save poor Africans. Always. And it's happening now again. People without shame nor honor. This is something we can do ourselves. Rather than, let me tell Tiwa Danjuma something. This is the long way of doing it. All you people have started very well in the Middle Belt is to apologize for what you did wrong in the past. That's number one. And now you build credible alliance. Credible. The mistake that people make in Nigeria always is this. When ethnic nationalities want to build alliances, they go back to Fulani slaves. The people that Fulani put in power, because they anticipated this time they knew was going to come. In order to preempt any outcome that will disfavor them or might appear unfavorable to their interest, they give you leaders. So if you come to Biafra land and you want to come and cut a deal as to how to deal with the Fulani people, and you have an award, and you have Edwin Clark. These are their slaves. You're not going anywhere. I'm sorry to say, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to achieve. You're not going to achieve your aim. You are not going to succeed. Now, what we need to do, or what people need to do, is to look for people of like minds. That is how to defeat Fulani. If you come and you're looking for the same people that are responsible for placing us where we are today, you will not make any progress. None whatsoever. Go and try and see. That is why Danjuma ran to white people to go and complain to them. Because we know as blacks, only whites can do something about our plight. How very shameful. How very shameful. That is the letter to Commonwealth, and I do pray and hope that Baroness Scotland does, look at it. She should I say, jettison every other financial consideration and give her fullest attention to this very letter. And then you will see the zoo change, because they understand that there's only one solution. The only solution is division. They know it. As long as you are with Fulani, Fulani must always try to take you over. This is something that fools will need to understand in the zoo in time to come. Once you're with them, one day, if they don't do it, their children will do it. What they think they're executing today was planned nearly 200 years ago by Ottoman Danfodio. So all of you, one Nigeria, we want to be in one Nigeria. I am telling you that you are signing your death warrant. You are placing your community in jeopardy. When Azikiwe was running around talking about one Nigeria, Azikiwe never knew a time would come when there will be Operation Python Dance. A time would come when girls will be raped in Uli and cut into pieces and nothing will happen. He never knew that a time will come when Ebonyi State, when we'll be struggling with Mietial as to who owns Ebonyi State. He never knew that a time would come when Fulani Janjaweed will impose a governor in Imo State. He never knew. He was fighting for one Nigeria. One big Nigeria, Pan-Africanism and all that garbage. He never knew, or he was unable to fathom the consequences. And here we are. This generation is now living with those consequences, trying to correct it, and it's very expensive and it's very costly. These are the things you ought to know. Anytime you see any idiot, any fool, regardless of his or her presumed education or degree of enlightenment or exposure, I am telling you that person is a compound idiot. I will challenge any non-entity to debate me anytime, any day. As I keep telling you, if you last, God in heaven is my witness. If you debate me and you last for 2 minutes in that very debate, I will know that I shouldn't be doing Biafra or agitating for Biafra. Nigeria is 60 years old. How old is your grandfather? Most of you listening, how old is your grandfather? Now, ask yourself this: what was your grandfather's country before Nigeria came into existence? And that is how I always start, and they run away. That is before you come, I won't even let you to get to all that nonsense about I am a Nigerian, patriotism and all that garbage. I ask you one simple question: how old is Nigeria? You tell me. Then I used to debate with my friends. They said, oh, Nigeria is 40 this year. Over 20 years ago. I say, okay, how old is your mom? Your mom is 45. So what was the nationality of your mother before Nigeria came into existence? And they start scratching their heads. But it is God and all the rest of it. I said, if it is God, then why do you answer Nigeria? Why is your name Nigeria? Why is it not that thing that your ancestors answered before the white man came? To truly reflect that your land came about as a result of fusion of common value system, which is what determines if a country should stand or not. Common value system, and they know it. But the thing in this is that none of their professors will ever delve into it. Never, never. And you see the zoo animal, they will scurry away with their tail between their back legs. Useless people that didn't go to school. They think that having degrees means you are educated. Of course you're not. Who created Nigeria? A man and a woman, mortal flesh. And I ask you, who created Russia? You can't tell me. Who created Japan? You can never tell me. Who created Korea? Nobody can. Only in Africa. Can you name a human being as being responsible for the creation of other human beings? What an utter abomination before God and before man. If you are strong in this zoo, you come and debate us. At the time that this letter was being written, because in this letter they mentioned Boko Haram, they mentioned Fulani headsmen, they mentioned Islamic terrorist groups. At the time of this letter, none of you knew that there's a new kid on the block, a new Fulani terrorist group on the block. And there was a video. Please try and send it to some of you. Should exchange it. I want it to appear on my page. Chinas, and make that very video available. There is a video of Boko Haram Fulani terrorists playing in their villages. They parked their cars and the AK-47 playing. Nobody came to bomb them. Nobody came to raid them. Nobody came to shoot at them. Nobody. I want that video published now. Look for it and put it on my page. As at the time they were writing this letter, little did they know that a new group is coming. Another Fulani group. Another Fulani group. They deceive all of you with their usual mumbo jumbo, their usual garbage, and you fall for it. Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB, we don't fall for such garbage because our reasoning faculties are intact. Our brain is intact. Every day we analyze. Every day we compute. Every blessed day we are going through their intentions and their motives line by line. Some of you go to sleep. You eat and you go to sleep. You watch useless Big Brother, you go to sleep. We don't sleep. We are awake every blessed day analyzing the intentions of the enemy because some of you are blind. Spiritually, physically, morally, intellectually, you are all blind in the zoo. That is why something that is 60 years old is trying to arrogate power to himself over and above something that is over 5,000 years old. And you want white man that created Nigeria to respect you. You want white people to look at you as an African, as their equal. When you abandoned thousands of years of history to embrace something that is so plastic and so artificial is not even worth remembering. If you don't learn here, you'll never learn anywhere else in your life. This is the finest university on the face of the planet. As long as you're a black African or a black person with black origin, you can trace your origin to Africa. Radio Biafra, this gospel we preach is the finest thing to ever happen to you in your life. Is it a coincidence that they're now naming all of them who are Igbo? That the governor of Cross River State is now saying he's Igbo. Do you know what goes into what we preach? Do you understand the effect it's having on people all over the world? Military will get rid of Darussalam terrorists soon from defense. How many of you know there's a new terrorist group from Fulani people called Darussalam? How many of you, I'm asking you, you idiots, you busy watching Big Brother. I cannot understand these people. How many of you know there is a new kid on the block, a new terror group funded by Fulani people on the block? The name is Darussalam. Do you hear Premium Times writing about them? Do you read from Daily Trust about this deadly group? No. It is this idiot, Enenche, whatever they call him. He says from defense headquarters, their spokesman. He was sacked before they brought him back to give that sort of middle belt coloration. The middle belt is north. That's why they put the idiot that is talking rubbish. Military will get rid of Darussalam terrorists soon. So they're a terrorist group from defense headquarters, and nobody's shooting at them. We don't know who their leader is. We don't know who their proscribed leader is. Zoological Republic. I'll read it for you very briefly. The defense headquarters has said the military will soon get rid of Darussalam terrorist group in the country. The coordinator of defense media operations, he's not a coordinator. You know, they love copying IPOB so much. Anything we do, they copy. That was how they named, they accidentally named the Sibajo ones as a coordinator because we are on air every blessed day, appointing coordinators all over the world. They didn't know the time it infected their brain and they started appointing coordinators. Even now, even in the army, they have a coordinator of defense and media operations. Have you heard of such rubbish before? only in the zoo. His name is Major General John Enenche. He said this while fielding questions from journalists while giving updates on the operations of the armed forces on Friday in Abuja. Enenche noted that the military was working with all stakeholders to put an end to the operations of the group in northern part of the country. Northern part of Nigeria, a new terrorist group called Darussalam. Are you aware of that? Imagine that in the east, in Biafra land, there are 7 terrorist groups. By now, Britain will supply every known attack helicopter and fighter jet. They will bomb us to the kingdom come. Double standards. But you can see it. You can see it with your 2 naked eyes. Fulani, they have Boko Haram. ISIS in West Africa. Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. Mietiala. Fulani bandits. They are different because Mietiala is Fulani headsmen. Then you have Fulani bandits. You have the one called Ansaru. Now you have the one called Darussalam. 7 terrorist groups from one tiny ethnic group. One tiny, because they have spent years looting and stealing money. Years planting themselves in the military with the support of the British. The same Britain that is now crying. Because once the zoo implodes, Britain and Europe will receive nothing less than 40 million refugees. 40 million! That is why they don't want to open their borders to you. That is why they have suspended all visa for some of you zoo animals. Because they know the zoo is going to collapse. They don't want you in their country, because if you're in their country and the zoo collapses, you can seek asylum and you can stay there forever. Now you understand. Here we give you information that you will pay very dearly to receive from any other source. It's free of charge here on this very platform. Blessed by heaven, of course. There is a new terrorist group. So I am advising the parliamentarians that wrote to the Commonwealth Secretary General to please revise their letter and add also Darussalam. All you hear is that we have no state of emergency. That prostitute in Asorok, that idiot with bleaching cream, very soon her face will burn. Loretta Onochie, supplying Edo girls to her clients in Italy. That idiot. Talking about state of emergency in the east, in Biafra land. Whereas there are 7 terrorist groups from Fulani, from Sokoto, from Katsina, from Kebbi. Or 7 no state of emergency, no. But it's in the east. That is the day people will hear her story. I'm telling you the truth. And it won't be pleasant. I'm telling you.
Hi, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time or first day of coming across my YouTube channel or seeing my face, you are highly welcome. Herzlich willkommen zu meinem Kanal. My name is Linda Chukwuezi. It comes as Miguel. That red button that says subscribe, and you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be able to get information on the.
Bis zum nächsten Video und einen schönen Tag. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis man subscribe to Linda's TV show. What are you waiting for? Click on that red button that says subscribe. You turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Leave your comments down below and share this video with your friends, families, and colleagues until we meet again in my next video. Bye bye.